everyone, and welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem, and also welcome back to part 3 of our Inktense colouring today, and of course The Ink House by Rory Dobner. This is fast becoming one of my favourite pages so far. So just to recap, we finished our books last time in this little stopwatch. So today we're going to focus on these items that are on this right hand page. We will see how far we get with that. So I just want to sort of take a methodical approach. I'm going to start here and we're going to work downwards and see how far along we get with these items. Though it's quite a small area, there's lots of different things going on, and that's what takes the time. So we're going to tackle this candle first, and that means we get to start off with some really fun colours. So I'm going to pick out a yellow and a red. I'm going to pick from the newer pencils that they brought out. So I'm going to go for the Persian red, and we're going to stick with the lemon that we've been using up until now, and we're going to do a little bit of work on our candle. So we want to get a little bit of colour going around here. So the centre of our candle is going to be white hot, and then we are going to blend in. Now this is the first bit of blending we've done with these pencils, and really what we want is to create a nice sort of transition. Now obviously it's quite a small area, so we'll not bother too much about that, but I do want to create a sort of ring round here, and just with the dry pencil, and again this is just the lemon. Now I'm not going to activate this with water, but if you see where I'm going with this, so it's just like a sort of halo effect, and if we keep going and building up those layers, eventually you will see, and you can see the lighter patches in the stained glass areas here. We'll pick up a little bit of that as well, and that's kind of what I was hoping for. So there we go, nice and subtle. So let me grab, I'm going to stick with my little water brush here, and again start in the lighter area and work down in. Now because we've blended this together, it has automatically created orange, which is convenient, and then we'll do that Persian red down in the bottom. Boom, look at that, yeah, lovely bright colours. Now for the candle, normally if I was doing wax candles like this, I would normally pick a yellow colour, but we do have quite a lot of yellow going on, so I'm going to pick a pale blue instead. So I'm thinking probably the iris blue would be the best bet. You can also use a grey pencil for this and just make sure that it's really really watered down. So I would like quite a sharp point on this. I do have my new Teacup sharpener. My old one is done. The unfortunate thing about these sharpeners is you can't replace the blades in them. I have had that one for quite a long time. I've had it for well over a year, and I use these sharpeners all the time. So unfortunately, it's going to have to go in the bin. I can take it to pieces and recycle the plastic, which is great. I did a wee bit of investigation there. Shiny new sharpener. I sharpened one of Mr. Jem's graphite pencils for him just to test it out. Yes! So here I want to focus on the shadow areas, and this is going to be the lightest of light touches. So basically anywhere where Rory's left some of these lines, this part in here for example, and behind there. This is really very much a case of the water brush is going to do the work for us here. So we really want to keep these pencil lines as light as possible, and then just make sure we've got a good water flow, and we're just going to kind of like spread this about a bit. That's basically it. That I know that's not very technical or helpful in a lot of cases, but we're just gonna spread it about a bit. That's basically it. Sometimes we don't need technical. Now again, for something like this candle, I wouldn't worry too much about light sources, because obviously you're complicating it with an extra light source. And it's also sitting quite close to the window as well. If you want to add anything in, I would just go in with the lemon yellow and maybe catch a couple of areas in terms of the light that's coming through the window. So I would maybe do that. But more importantly, these points up here where the candle has obviously started to melt, I would pop a little bit in there too. Because obviously that's a radiating light source. So it's going to light up the surrounding area. So again, just a few pencil strokes, nothing crazy. You don't want it to be really, really yellow because it's going to kind of take away from it. Now down to the candlestick holder, I was thinking about using metallic paint for this, but I actually think I would like to use pencil. And the pencil that I'm going to use to start us off is amber, which is this colour here. Again, I'm thinking about the grottiness, the grottiness value in all of this. So we'll just start with this little edge here. Now this particular item is pretty well hatched, so we may not have to do much in terms of adding to it. I would like to activate this with water. There's another tiny patch, I don't know if you can see that in there. I'll zoom in a little bit more. There's a tiny little bit of window frame in there. Like it's the smallest area. We can deal with that later. The other thing I need to do is fix my pocket watch with my fine liner. I will show you that in this video too. So trying to get quite an even layer of colour here, not pressing very hard at all. It's quite a fancy candlestick holder, that, isn't it? Fancy. And then again with this this lemon yellow, I'm maybe just going to take this down an edge here. Again, just some of that reflection from the window, and obviously because this is a metal object, the reflection, even though it's grubby, is probably more likely than, for example, of the books. So in with my little water brush here, and when I come to this bottom edge here, I'll do my yellow bit first and then clean that off, and then start at the opposite side. There doesn't actually look like much difference between the two of them. That's quite interesting. Okay, so we'll let that dry now. This little purse item beside here, I really feel like that's going to be like a red colour. Maybe not dissimilar to what we did with the books, but I'm not convinced that that's what it should be. My problem is I want it more red than this red oxide colour, but I don't want it as red as some of the other reds. I think I want to go for Shiraz. Let's try that. And again, I'm going to leave the edge here and maybe put a little bit of yellow in. I don't know whether... Oh, this is a pocketbook. I thought it was a purse, but it is actually. It's like a posh pocketbook with a foldy over bit. I had a diary like that at one point. It was like a magnetic flap. And there's a book underneath as well. Good grief. I'm going to be busy today. So I've got the willow pencil from the last video, which I'd used for some of the pages here. And I'm just going to pop that in there like that. And again, I'm going to take my lemon yellow here. Just a little bit though. Maybe a little bit along there too. Okay, so same rules apply. Lightest part first. Now I'm going to mix some of this in a little bit. Just kind of dab my brush into it so that it bleeds over a little bit. That's such a rich colour, look at that. And then trying to get this teeny little edge in here. Now the thing that interests me is this book here looks remarkably like the Ink House because it's got the cutout on the front, just like this does. So in the interests of that, I am going to use the lemon yellow. This is fast becoming the favourite pencil. Just to pop that in there. And this little bug as well, I'm going to do in the amber that we've used up there. I'm not going to pay too much attention to it, honestly. But I just feel like it deserves a little bit of colour that's not white. And again, I likely won't activate that with water. And I'm going to take this iris blue for the pages in the Ink House. And we have yet another book underneath there too. So I'm going to go back to my leaf green, which is the colour we used up here for this book. Make sure that I get all the parts of this book and don't miss any spots. That looks like it might be part of the book in there. This is definitely a glasses leg. Okay, so we'll call it a halt there for adding colour. Just to go back up here now, I've got the oak pencil and I just want to use this as like the shadow type colour. Now for all of these I'm using a really sharp point because we're in fairly detailed areas here. Again, just where the hatching is mostly, I mean that's going to be in shadow. And just covering that hatched area a little bit. And that's making all the difference. I just don't want it looking too pristine. And again, you can make a judgment yourself on how far you want to take the level of grub. There we go. That just seems to fit the picture a bit better now. I'm actually quite happy with this little notebook as it is. I just want to take my water brush and run the willow colour over those areas. Yeah, that's better. And as I say, I don't think I'm going to touch the yellow part in what I think is the ink house. I will do this leaf green book though. I've got this crystal inkwell sort of idea. The ink looks to be black because it's dripped on the book here, and I think this is what this is denoting here. Now obviously with cut crystal like this, there's loads of facets and there's loads of light. So if you've ever coloured gemstones, you would kind of get the idea. But basically it reflects and diffracts light, so you end up with this sort of multicolour swap shop of anything that's in the vicinity. So this blue colour, for example, I'm not going to go back and use the same blue because light's going through it, it's going to look lighter. So I'm going to use this iris pencil that I've just used down here and for the candlestick as well. And we can pop some of that in various places too. You're pretty much free to do however you want to do here. But obviously there would be more blue on this part that the crystal inkwell is sitting on than up the top here where the light's hitting. So feel free to do with that as you please. I would like to keep it fairly light. I do want to add in a teeny tiny bit of the fuchsia or magenta. I keep forgetting fuchsia. Just so that we can, you know, have a nod to the fact that you know, that there is light bouncing about there, and that kind of ties in with the fancy book page edges that we did up here. So I feel like that would be a nice touch. But again, very sparingly. Probably won't activate that with water. Just don't feel the need for that to happen. Now we've kind of got a bit of a similar situation with the spectacles here as well. There you will be, obviously you can see through glass, but if light bounces off it, it tends to make things look paler. So if I activate the pages of this book on this side, like this, and then don't do the one that's inside the lens, that's going to help give you that effect. In terms of the colour of the spectacles, I kind of feel that they should be quite a funky colour. Maybe we'll use this Persian red. That sounds like fun, why not? So let's go for that, why not? Why would we not want to do that? Again, nice sharp pencil here, that's helpful. Just work my way around gently here. Look at that for a red, woo! Oh, it's fun. Oh, went over the lines a wee bit there, oh no. Try and keep my movements as smooth as possible here. Again, rounded objects I tend to find more difficult. So with the residue that is on my water brush here, this is where I look at doing the legs that are in the lenses. So you can see there that's created quite a nice effect. We're not going to be able to do the what will be the surface because we haven't decided what we're doing there, but we can finish off these legs. Now obviously I've got no red left on my brush, so again the same technique that we used in the last video. We just take a bit of colour straight off the pencil onto our water brush, and then we can keep going until it's fairly dilute, so about there, and then we can carry on with what we're doing. There we go, perfect, perfect. That's a handy wee that's a great wee technique to use and stuff like this. The other thing I want to do as well is I've decided I'm going to leave this feather up here white. I quite like it as it is, but I just want to fill in the actual stem of the feather. I'm just making sure that all this is dry, and I'll make that fairly dark. I think because of the hatching that's already there, it doesn't look unfinished if we just leave it like that. I think it just looks just right like this. Okay, I'm going to find a teeny tiny fine liner now. I really want Right, you don't get much smaller than these. I love Pigma Micron fine liners for this very reason. This is a 003, so it is a 0.15mm line width. It is tiny. It's so tiny you can't see the nib, like you can't see it. But that is what I'm going to correct my stopwatch with. Now, the advantage of doing this, and one of the things I would say as well, is if you have any doubt whatsoever, use a thinner line width than the actual line width of the artwork, because what it means you can do is you can build it up to the correct thickness. If you pick one that's too thick right off the bat, then you're going to have to correct everything round about it, and then the item's going to stand out and it might look out of place. Just want to make sure this is dry enough. So find a spot where you've still got the line, where the line still exists. I haven't completely wiped it out all the way around, but I did a pretty good job in that in the last video. And just take your time. I can actually still see the line through that there. So that's pretty helpful. And I find that if it's the metallic paint, you do have to go over it a time or two. But there you go, it just tidies it up a little bit. And the same up here. Kind of went over a wee bit too much there. So we'll just pop that back in. Makes it look like a bit more of a professional job. God, I really did a number on this. I didn't realise how bad it was. There we go. So you can see that looks a bit tidier and a bit more professional now. It was just one of those things my eye was drawn to it, so I just felt like I had to fix it. The books I'm not so bothered about, but the pocket watch was annoying me because, I mean, it is really shiny, like it does really stand out, so it kind of needed to be right. Okay, so let's look at this a little teacup here. This is kind of cute. I don't know how I feel about this teacup, honestly. We do have quite a lot of blue in the drawing, and we do have quite a lot of yellow, and I feel that in a way we should kind of stick to that. So it's making me want to take this iris pencil again, but only put it in the hatched areas. So stick to the rule, you only put it in where there's these lines. Try and keep a fairly light hand. Maybe a little bit around that rim there. And what we'll do is we will pull this colour out with the water brush. So it'll give us a fairly delicate colour like in these middle parts here. These here parts. Maybe just a little bit there. And then we'll maybe have a bit more here because that's obviously the shadow area. That's going to be a little bit more intensive there. Okay. I'll go with that. I really enjoy the looseness and the freedom to just kind of see what happens with these Inktense pencils, and I feel it's like a much safer environment to do it in a colouring book than, you know, if I was doing an actual artwork. And I tend to favour these for colouring rather than when I'm creating original art. I prefer to stick to normal pencils for my own creations. It's funny that, isn't it, how we just get wee preferences for things. It's like gouache. I like to use gouache for landscapes or, like, you know, little scenes. I wouldn't necessarily use gouache to create, like, say, like the Mecha Moggy stickers or Mermoos or whatever. It's interesting how I'm quite firm in my preferences now, and I'm obviously at that stage where I know what I like now. I've been doing this long enough. Still don't consider myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I've been round the block a bit now. And I know what I like is the main thing. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep this concentrated in this shadow area because I don't want to end up with a completely blue teacup. And then just at the edges there we go. Okay, okay, you know, I'll go with that. In terms of our pencil, I think I'll go with the, no, I'm going to go with the willow pencil again. I was going to say amber there, but the amber's too yellowy. So I'll grab my willow pencil and just scoot in a few lines there. So that's going to give that a little bit of texture. Again, make sure I've got a really, really sharp point on this. For anybody wondering, the Inktense pencils obviously do fit in the Teacup sharpener. It is quite a tight fit though. The Derwent barrels are slightly chunkier than some of the other pencils, but they do fit. So if it was something you were thinking about, these sharpeners are getting harder and harder to come by, well, especially here in the UK, and they've gone up substantially in price. I had to pay about £8 for this one. Used to be able to get them for about a £5, but I suppose a lot's changed in 6 years But so, there's some sellers that have got them for like £12 and I just wouldn't pay £12 for one. But that's just me. Okay, and just take a little bit of lemon yellow here. Again, not going to activate this. Just wanted it to look a bit more pencil-y. In terms of the barrel here, I'm quite tempted to go for like the, you know, the old school pencil, like yellow and black striped Statler one or something, because that's kind of instantly recognisable. So I'll take my lemon and we'll use a dark colour. I think we'll stick with the blue theme, and I'm going to take the iron blue rather than black, because black will stand out, you know, black will stand out like this book here, and I don't think we need that for our pencil, so we'll go dark blue. Fabulous. So good. So I'm having so much fun with this. Like, I love doing all these wee itty bitty bits as well. If we move on down now to this letter, I want to kind of give this an aged feel. So I'm going to jump between the lemon and the amber pencil here, and we're just going to start at the corners. I did try and read this. I think it says, Miss Bella, I write to beg that you will gratify me by taking a dinner this. I think it says a dinner something me this afternoon. So a dinner with me this afternoon. I shall call at 5 o'clock if that hour will suit your convenience. If you have any previous engagement for this afternoon, I hope that you will vouchsafe me the pleasure of riding with you tomorrow at the same hour. Very deeply yours, Inkhouse Man. Or something. It's hard work. Okay, so yeah, just the corners here. There's a little bit of a mark there as well. So we are going to blend these together like we did with the candlestick. Bit of a crease in the middle there, look. Oh. And then I can take this amber pencil. So just going to alternate now. Pop a bit over this side as well, why not? Grab my water brush. Now I'm going to take a bigger brush this time. I'm going to go to the medium brush, which is my green one. Because I want this to be quite spread out. Just go all the way across. Oh, I'll hate that. Okay, we'll leave that to dry. It looks very yellow on the camera. It's a lot more subtle than that, but we're also going to add in a little bit of the oak pencil as well, just to dirty that down. Alright, so we've got our little mouse friend here as well. And again, I'm trying to think about what's going to be happening in the background. I think we're going to make this quite dark, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm a little bit apprehensive about what I'm going to do with this little guy. I do want to pick out a delicate pink for the inside of his ears. So we could go pink flamingo here, again one of the newer colours. I'd say that's probably the best bet based on what our other choices are, so let's see if I can find it. Here we go. So more concentrated colour at the base there. And it is actual ear holes. And we'll take the iris blue for his scarf. I'm thinking number one, it matches his glasses. That's my sort of primary concern. They're poking up out his little hole in the desk. It's very cute. It's like his reading hole. And I'm just varying the pressure of the pencil here based on the hatch lines. I'm going to have to squeeze my water brush in there. God. Going to be a tight squeeze. I feel like this would be darker around here. Okay, when we use our water brush here, we're going to use like a dotting motion. Or a dabbing motion if you prefer. Just because these areas are really small. So I really just want to activate the colour rather than move it about or smooth it out. Obviously scarves are quite textured, so dab, 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 dot, 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 dab, dab, dab. I think we'll go for a very pale brown here. Or like almost into like a gingery colour. I've got cows that look like that. I've got Baked Earth. I haven't used that yet. That's quite gingery. Yeah. So this colour down here, it's beginning to become a bit of a running joke. If Gem doesn't use Baked Earth in an Inktense piece, then she didn't actually do it. It was an imposter. I do use this pencil for everything. See, this is my second one. The writing's starting to wear off the barrel. It's, yeah, we're getting there. Oh no, I've got breakage. Oh no. This does not happen very often with these pencils, I have to say. Gladly. They are quite expensive if you're buying them individually, so you would hope that you would have good, you know, a good lead, a nice strong core. Right, there we go, that's better, yeah. So, I feel like he's all one colour as well, maybe apart from this little bit round his mouth. And he's got some set of whiskers on him as well. So let's start. I should have activated these ears first before I did that. That was silly. So starting that lightest part there. I'll do his body down here while I'm waiting for that to dry. So again, I think the colour will be quite concentrated in here. So I'm just going to put an even layer of colour down there. He's got a ring on as well. That's so cute. I noticed he had an earring, but I didn't realise he's actually wearing a ring. That's super cute. That's tickled me a little bit. And again, I was going to use my medium-sized water brush there, but I realised I've got to get round this ring finger business, so that's ring and finger business, not ring finger. Look, he's the same colour as my little ginger biscuits. Any time we have a ginger set of twins, when they're cuddled in beside their mums, they look remarkably like a British biscuit called a ginger nut, so I call them my little ginger biscuits. And this is kind of the colour that they are. I'm going to grab the oak pencil while I am waiting. I'm assuming this is dry enough. Yeah, this is drying fairly quickly. It's not, even though it's summer, it's Scotland, it's not very warm. And I was glad to find out that I'm not the only person that's had to put my heating on. Mr. Jem is eternally roasting because he works outside. He doesn't really feel the cold much, and we were sitting just watching TV, and he said last night, he's like, is it just me or is it really cold in here? And I'm like, I've had the heating on every day. You've not even noticed. Not all day or anything, but for a couple of hours, especially sort of late afternoon into early evening. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's cold. Right, so you can see how the grubbiness is going here. So the trick to this is just keeping your pressure very, very light, because you can build it up then. Build up the colour, I mean. Not your pressure. Resist the urge to go in with a heavy hand. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. That's suitable. So let me go back to my baked earth now. So I kind of want him to be quite white round his mouth there. Again, if animals are going to have a paler area, it tends to be in places like that. It's a bit like when I was talking about the toe hair in the last video. The toe hair. Toe plumage. Down his nose. Yeah, look, he's so cute. Okay, so I'm going to use my bigger brush for this area. Oh, I missed his other hand as well. Imagine having two hands, how dare he? I'll just give that a wee dab. Dab, dab, dab. So you can see the areas where the hair is heading into other parts. I'm just flicking that up. I'm not even bothered about staying in the line work. It's just to kind of give it that feeling, that texture. So not overly concerned. See, by the time we fill this in anyway, it's going to be negligible. Get his little cheeky parts here. Get a wee bit of that dabbing motion's just a bit easier. Now you can see we did very little shading there, but that looks pretty good. I'm going to leave his book white as well, again just for the purposes of contrast, because this area is going to be darker, so that'll stand out quite nicely. Maybe that's a fresh book, maybe he brought that one with him. Okay, I think seeing as we've come this far, I think we should just go for it and do the bottle as well that is on the opposite page, and that will leave us just the surface to do for the next video. So that'll be more like a tutorial style. This is how I'm getting this pattern. I still haven't actually decided what I'm doing with it yet, but I'll figure it out. Let's take our amber pencil here, because this is our dirty great big old cork, and we'll take our lemon pencil. So we'll get that nice lemon edge that we've been enjoying so much up till now. And we'll take a very light layer of the amber here, and then we'll bring this down. And we'll maybe just give that a quick, I mean it's very, very dark, but we'll just give that a quick run over there. And again, we can go in with the oak pencil. That seems to be a good choice. And we'll really dull that down. For the bottle, I would like it to be blue, you know, like that really nice indigo ink colour. So I'm going to use the iron blue pencil for this. I'm just going to work my way over there. I'm not going to touch the label. Now again, we're back to this sort of less is more. If we put a layer down and it's not enough, we can always go back and put more in. Whereas if we go too hard with this pencil, because as I said, it is quite a strong colour in its own right, then you're going to end up with it really dark, and it's difficult to undo that after that point. So I just want to make sure I'm covering the areas where the white of the paper is. Again, the water brush is going to do most of the work here. So now, I mean, you could start getting complicated with, you know, adding in purple patches and one thing and another. I'm not into that. I just want to leave that edge there again, and I'll do the lemon yellow like I did with the books on the other side. So what you would find is, and I'm sure some of you have come across bottles like this, if they are like a dark blue glass, in normal light they actually look almost opaque and you can't really see through them, and then if you shine some light through them, it lights up like a light bulb, this blue colour. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. We'll assume that it's a sunny day outside of the window of this stained glass study. I'm kind of going over the top of that a wee bit because obviously the glass would be in front of the stopper. Again, we'd like to leave the label white. I think maybe though, maybe we should add in this lemon. Again, not to activate it, but just to make that stand out a little bit. So we'll get a nice even coverage there. I've lost my oak pencil. Where have you gone? Oh, there it's there. Can't see it for looking at it. And just work away. So this underneath edge, maybe fairly dark on that side, less dark on this side. And I'm going to add in some of the baked earth as well. I feel like this is like really cool colours for what I assume is cork, because it's got all these little kind of like marks and indentations and stuff. So I just want to warm it up a bit, and the baked earth is obviously a good colour for that. So there we go, I'm a bit happier with that. Okay, so there we go everyone, that is us for today. We've got on a lot further than I thought we would today. Like, oh, I am quite happy with the way this is going, and I hope that you are too. In doing all of this, I'm going to do a little bit of homework before the next video and decide the best way to do the desk. One of the things that is a downside to the Inktense pencils is it's very difficult to get smooth uniform colour over a large area because obviously you're using pencils, and I just want to figure out the best technique and what sort of wood type pattern I want. So I will do that separately, and I will obviously explain that technique in the next video. What I do know is that we have a lot of mid-tone colours, so I'm going to make this surface quite dark. We will also have to navigate around the writing. Now in previous pages, all I've done is I've just faded out the colour when it's gotten towards the actual lettering. So, you know, I've just made sure that there's no colour in the immediate vicinity. So I think that's what we'll probably do for this page as well. So I will go and do my homework, and I'll be all prepared for the next one. So that is it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves today, and I hope you're enjoying how this page is progressing. We have gotten significantly further today than I thought we would, but as you can see, it's coming together nicely, and one more video will finish this off. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out. Thanks for watching. You know I always appreciate it, and I always appreciate your feedback and your comments underneath these videos too. So if you would like to say anything, if you would like to open your mouth and let your guts rumble, please head down underneath the video into the comments section, and I will see you back in the cave really soon for another video. Have a great day everyone, and bye bye for now.